Morning folks, and welcome back to part 2. I had a fantastic night's sleep last night, camped next to that river in that boggy woodland. Slept from 9 o'clock I think I went to bed, woke up at 6:30, fantastic, solid sleep. I'm just coming through Knettishall Heath here, gorgeous open bit of heathland, very popular spot. There's sort of ponies and all sorts roaming about in this area. Gorgeous, just walking through the trees at the moment. Knettishall Heath is the largest area of heathland in Suffolk, and it's also the meeting point of 3 major long distance footpaths. The Icknield Way, which obviously I'm walking along, I've done 77 miles of it so far, 15 miles to go to Thetford. The Peddars Way, which runs north up to Home next to the sea on the North Norfolk coast, and the footpath that started this little odyssey of mine. I've actually just completed a complete loop up the Peddars Way, around the Norfolk coast path, and then down the Icknield Way to where I started. And the other footpath, which starts from here, is the Icknield Way, which goes down to Beacon, another 100-odd mile walk. It then connects onto the Ridgeway, and then actually heads all the way down to the south coast in Dorset. So it's a great big walk if you want to do the whole thing. Originally, the Icknield Way finished here, but has since been extended, taking in parts of the Icknield Way and forming a big loop coming into Thetford from the south rather than from the west, using the footpaths and bridleways rather than the roads, which it would have to do if it took the more direct route. This first little bit from Knettishall is lovely. Some of it is through the trees, like where I am now. Some of it's more open. Some of it is through the bracken. These sort of little narrow, tight, winding paths through the bracken. Really nice. It's a little bit cooler today. It's a bit more overcast. The sun is trying to break through, but it's definitely not the bright blue skies we had yesterday. Although I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it might clear a bit. We're now walking through the Euston estate and along a track called the Juke's Ride, which speaks of Euston's royal connection. Euston Hall was given to the illegitimate son of King Charles II in the 1670s, and it's been in the Fitzroy family ever since. Henry Fitzroy was King Charles II's son. I just spotted this mysterious hump in the woods as I was walking past with an entrance way, and I've come to have a little look. The entrance has been blocked up with a steel door, but somebody has bent it up so you can get inside and have a little look. And I think it's an old ice house, probably from the estate. You know, in the days before electricity, ice used to be imported from colder parts of the world, and it had to be stored somewhere cold. So they dug deep pits and they built a brick domed roof over the top, and that's where ice would have been stored until it was needed. Really interesting and incredibly deep. When I shone my torch down in there, it's it's a long way down to the floor, and then there's another lower kind of sump, I guess, to catch the meltwater. You certainly wouldn't want to fall down there, because I don't think you'd get back out again. Well, I'm 10.5 miles in. It's nearly 1 o'clock and I'm starving. So I'm going to stop here for some lunch. I've just passed New Zealand cottages back there, and I'm sitting right on top of where the old Bury St Edmunds to Thetford line used to be. Whew, this is like a bridge, the top of a bridge. Used to run down that way and then across behind the camera over there, before a lot of these lines were closed down, sadly. I've got a hot lunch today. I'm going to have some soup and some more wraps to dip in it. I think I might even have a bag of peanuts somewhere buried in my rucksack. Gonna have a cherry powdered drink to go with it. That's a proper colour. Right, I promised I'd show you the map, so here it is. Over here is Knettishall Heath. I was actually camped a bit further that way off the map. There's more of Knettishall Heath than is shown on this map here. So my first bit of walking this morning was through Knettishall to this point here, and that's where the Icknield Way starts, the Peddars Way starts, and the Icknield Way used to start or end. This is an older map, an older publication, an older printing, and it hasn't actually got the Icknield Way marked on here. This is before they extended it, but we walked down this way, across and along here. This is the Juke's Ride, and that continues down to Euston Hall here, although we turn off and just skirt past and come down this way into the village of Euston. This is that little bit of road section where the river was, where I got some water. Glad I did, because I don't think I would have lasted to the end with what I had left. And then we came up this hill. That's where I found that ice house. And then up and along past the fields here. Over here is RAF Honington. We could see off in the distance. And then we came down here, a little bit of road. Up here, that's New Zealand cottages that we've just passed, and I'm just on this section of disused railway here. So after lunch I'm going to walk to the end of this track here, and then down across and then up here, up the old Barnum slip, onto the new Barnum slip, and then wind across and around into Thetford itself, which is where I'll be finishing. That is the end of the Icknield Way.
We've finally turned and we're now headed towards Thetford. We are finally headed in the right direction. It's been a big loop. As beautiful as it has been, you know, the fields look lovely, especially this one I'm walking past now with all the rapeseed out, and the woodlands have been lovely. And that beautiful typical Breckland, you know, pine boundaries, pine margins, just gorgeous. But it has felt like a bit of a trudge. It's pretty much all been on sandy tracks, which, although it's reasonably easy underfoot, you know, it's a bit sort of monotonous from that point of view. Still a few miles to go, but yeah, it feels like a a real kind of milestone moment, that turn.
And here we are finally in Thetford, the end of my 96-mile walk. I thought it was 93 miles, but the sign says otherwise. So 96 it is. I'm glad to have got here. It's been another big day today, 18 miles today. A little bit longer than I thought it was, but that's okay. There's been a settlement here in Thetford since Neolithic times, where flint was mined very close to here at Grimes Graves. Well worth a visit if you get a chance. There's an impressive monastery, or the remains of one, and you can walk around the footprint of the old buildings. Gives you an idea of scale. Massive place. And then there's Thetford Castle, where I am now. It's a Motte and Bailey castle, and the mound here is the biggest man-made mound in England. Huge. I was a little bit disappointed to see that they've built a staircase going up to the top. That hasn't always been here. It used to just be you know, a rough path, and you had to just clamber your way up. Much more fun. But obviously somebody's decided that that's far too unsafe, so they've provided handrails and treads all the way to the top. I think it's a bit of a shame really, but there you go. Today's walk has been thoroughly enjoyable, but it has felt like a bit of a trudge at points, even though the views, you know, vary. It went through woodland, it went alongside varying fields, so there was plenty to look at. But yeah, the tracks underfoot were just a bit tedious, and those last few miles walking up into Thetford felt like they were never going to end. But yeah, here I am. So what next? I'll have to put my thinking cap on and decide which East Anglian long distance footpath I'm going to tackle next. I'm going to be walking the West Highland Way next year, but that's kind of a separate thing. You know, that's up in Scotland, and I'm trying to put together videos on walks in this area. You know, I've done 3 of them now, but there are many more to walk, so I shall have to make a decision. But yeah, the Icknield Way is a proper stonker, well worth it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.